Greetings, friends. So I just wanted to share, this last few months, I've been doing barber school and walking through, different trials, for the lack of a better word. I did an earlier video, or earlier message, you may get it kind of cut off, but I'm just sharing. Start back in May, I started to complete my barber's hours, my barber certification, and it's been a trial, different trials, different aspects of warfare, different aspects of spiritual growth, different physical ailments, and like a trial in my body. And anyways, I just wanted to share that. But it was at some point in time, I remember in like July, maybe even August, the finances that I had, the money that I did have coming in to support myself, it just stopped. And I eventually got unemployment, and it was like $80 a week, which is enough for gas, maybe get my daughter something to eat, And at that time, I wasn't able to pay for barber school anymore. And it just so happened there was an organization that said that they would, just before that, they said that they were, I was expecting them to pay the remaining balance for barber school. It's about $5,000. And so July, August, September comes, and I graduate in October. September comes and they go, let me backtrack. In about August, my instructor comes to me and is like, "You're not going to graduate." She didn't say you're not going to graduate on time. She said you're not going to graduate. And then she pulls out, paperwork or whatever, and you're not going to graduate. Your hours are missing, and I'm confused. I'm like, how? And there's like 7 days that weren't accounted for, that I surely did show up to school. And it just was weird. It was really weird. And anyways, it was discouraging. I go back into my car and I pray, and because there's so much heaviness. It's such a fight. You would think everything was trying to stop me from being a barber, and God put this promise in my heart that that's what I was going to do. And that's why I was there that long, showing up every day, being consistent, being as obedient as I knew how to or could, And so I'm back in my car like, Lord, I feel like honestly, I felt like God lied. It's funny how when God says one thing and someone says something else, we think God lied, And I'm like, God, but she's the lady, she's the person, the instructor, the owner, so. And I'm like, Father, like, you said that I was going to graduate and I was going to graduate on time. And like, this is what you wanted me to do. Like, I know what you put in my heart, and maybe I'm examining it a little bit deeper, but also questioning, am I hearing from you like I'm supposed to? And the Lord said, it's okay. You're going to graduate on time. You're going to graduate on time. You're going to pass your exam. You're going to be a barber. That's my will for you. And so I just shake it off. I show back up to school. My instructor kind of gives me this look like, why are you still here? Why are you still here? It's funny how when you have faith to keep going, people act like they're atheists all of a sudden. People that don't believe in God, wonder, why are you, how, And so I just keep going. God said, I'm going to graduate on time. God said, I'm going to do this. God said, and I'm just, if God gives you a promise, be faithful to it regardless of what it looks like. And I was like, you know what? I got to be humble. And sometimes we got to be humiliated if we want to be exalted by God. And so, August, I show up. September, I show up. Now September, I'm supposed to be paid up by September, and I find out that the organization that was going to fund my scholarship, I kind of got some weird information partway through, just some more things, and basically found out that no, we're not going to be able to pay this remainder. We told you we would. We said we could, and we said a few different things, but we're not. This $5,000 is no longer our responsibility. And so it's September. I'm not, as far as I know, I'm not graduating on time. And I don't have $5,000, and my instructor already don't like me, right? And I try to show up and do my best and put forth the best attitude I have, and it's not easy every day. And I'm running to doctor's appointments, and I'm running to group therapy meetings, and I'm Bible study and church whenever the doors is open, like really, and it's funny how you can do all these things and still feel lonely. You still feel like no one understands. And so September comes, and we slide into October. Now my instructor said you have until October 1st, and I was like, all right, October 1st to come up with $5,000. And then she goes, October 1st comes, but somehow she forgets about it, And again, this is me. It's a totally God thing, or she just gave me a little slack. But it was like, no. People was getting packed up and sent out and left out. You know what I mean? So I took her at her word, but then it became October 10th. And I was like, October 10th. And she said, look, October 10th is the last day. I'm supposed to send in final hours. October 10th is the absolute day. There's no point in you showing up to school at this point. October 10th. And it's like October 5th. And I was so broke, so poor. I didn't have money to feed myself. I didn't have food. I was just scraping together some things. And the father said, one day the father told me, go look up a food shelf and get yourself some food. And I was like, oh wow, good idea. Get yourself some food. And I look up this food shelf and I go, and I'm happy because they loaded me up with food that I needed so bad. I like cried in the car after I had it, because scripture says he'll pour out a blessing you have not room enough to receive. And while I'm there, they're doing intake and they ask me, I'm like, I'm in barber school, and I'm a dad, I'm a single father, and it is what it is. And so, and they're like, well, let us know if you need anything, I was like, okay. And I'm getting ready to leave, and I'm like, hey, is there any chance you guys do any like scholarships for schools? And the lady says, no, we do not. We don't. I was like, well, it is what it is, I done talking about, I done just stood in line at different organizations, asking them all this, been told no so many times as far as school, over and over, that I'm weary and tired. And the only thing I could think to do is just go get food shelf food, And I'm asking this lady kind of, well, it is what it is, whatever. But she's like, I could look into it. I'm like, okay, not thinking anything of it. And so the lady calls me back Monday. No, the lady calls me back like Monday and is like, hey, so what we're willing to do so you can graduate, we can put up half the money, but you got to find and guarantee the other half somehow. And that's the only way we'll do it. So I'm like, okay, that's cool, $2,500, but I don't have another $2,500. So I got to find it and figure it out. And so she's like, I talked to my teacher and I'm like, hey, they're willing to give me $2,500 if you're willing to work out a payment plan. No. I'm like, is there any way that no. I'm like, even if you don't pass me, it's just you get $2,500. No. So I'm discouraged. They try calling, nothing. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say, yo. You can only get so far. Then, so they're kind of just done. Like, yeah, we're just moving forward. Then all of a sudden, one day, my friend, thank God when you have a friend. My friend says, hey, come outside. I'm like, okay. I come outside and he's like, here you go. Sign this. He loaned me $2,500. And all of a sudden I got 2,500 cash, so I immediately drive to this, social service place where they hand out food, and tell the lady, my intake worker, and she's like, oh wow, one, don't be walking around driving around with $2,500, but two, okay, we'll call. So I'm supposed to show up Tuesday. I'm not even supposed to show to school, come to school on Tuesday, but I come to school on Tuesday and just start counting out the money in front of my teacher, and she's like, oh, okay, 3,500, and writes the receipt, and I'm like, oh, you just wrote down $1,000 more, and I gotta come around and tell this person who I felt like has been really hard on me, you made a mistake. You made a mistake, and I needed the money, but I go, God, you are God in my life, not money. I'm a millionaire already. You're gonna open doors that no man can close. You're gonna open doors no man can close. And so I'm gonna trust you and take this step of faith and just tell this person, hey, guess what? You made a mistake. And so she's like, oh, I would have found it out anyway. Okay, cool. And then the organization calls and sends her a promise note and da-da-da. Long story short, all the money's paid for. And then somebody else calls me and is like, hey, I want to pay for your barber tools. What's your Venmo? And they Venmo me some money, and they buy me new barber tools, like some new ones. And then somebody else says, hey, I heard about the scenario. I just want to bless you. Pick out something online that you can use for barber school, and boom, I get some more clippers. Like, all of a sudden overnight, my clippers go from broken, dusty barber school to like elite out of nowhere. And I'm supposed to be training at this job, and I'm supposed to be training at Great Clips, and I'm a single dad. It's me, right? And I can't work the hour. I got a certain availability to do work, to do school, and and then my daughter and church. And so they're like, we're not gonna move forward with training because of your availability, it was so random and weird. We talked a month earlier, now here, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, clean out your desk. So I'm heartbroken. It's like, I'm heartbroken. And I heard the Lord say, go to this certain barbershop. It's really upscale. I'm like, why? Just go now. So I'm leaving Great Clips, going to this super fancy upscale barbershop, and I tell them, hey, I'm a barber looking for work, whatever. They're like, I might be able to have the owner call you back. And they're like, and I'm like, okay. Didn't think anything of it, and I left. The owner calls me back and is like, hey, one of our barbers actually had to step back. One of our head people had to step back. One of our head people had to step back this week. So, like, can we get an interview with you? And I'm like, yeah. So fast forward now, I do school, barber school, I finish my hours, everything's paid up. And then one day my instructor hands me this paper, and it's my barber hours, and it's my certification. It's my barber hours and my certification. And all of a sudden I'm done with barber school. I got 2 weeks to study, 2 weeks to finish studying for boards. So fast forward, boards come, and 7:30 a.m. I show up to boards, do the written exam in a half an hour, which is good. Then I do this haircut, written exam, face shave, haircut, whatever. I'm feeling good. I feel like I did a really good job. Then after I have my second interview with this barbershop, and they're like, we like your, we like your attitude, we like your whatever. Would you want to, they offer me the position basically. Sorry, I'm like kind of sleepy, but they offer me the position. So that day I find out I'm hired, and then I pretty much aced the barber boards, and so I'm feeling good. And so, anyways, long story short, um, then the organization that said they wouldn't pay for my my barber boards, they call me and say, hey, we will pay for we will pay for your clothes for whatever job you get. So it's like up to $1,000. So not only that, so not as of today, not only as of today, I'll say this: I graduated barber school. Um, I have brand new clippers, brand new barber tools, brand new smock. I'm talking about every day I was wearing the same like clay, I don't know, like apron. It was just falling apart and it was not, and hair would stick to it. New apron, new tools, new barber clothes, like upscale barber clothes. And work at a new shop. Not only do I work at a shop that is more flexible, willing to be more flexible with me, willing to work with my schedule, but they pay me more. And because I'm a barber and not a cosmetologist, no shot at cosmetologists at all, but because I'm a barber, there's certain things I'm licensed to do in the shop that allow me to make more money than I would have at Great Clips that quote unquote fired me. And so as today I found out that I passed. I am currently a registered barber in the state of Minnesota, and everything that God said happened. I graduated on time. I passed all the different therapies and evaluations that I needed to do. I graduated from these things. I graduated as a barber. I got new barber clothes. I got new barber tools. I got the best clippers that I could think to ever even ask for. And I got my character. I didn't change my heart. I didn't change my morals in the process. I didn't lie or cheat or steal in the process to get where I'm at. I trusted God and I came out on top. Scripture says that he's a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. Scripture says he that sows to the Spirit will reap life everlasting. Do not grow weary in doing good, for in due season you shall reap a reward. Like I just want to say, he blesses those that are diligent, and man, I can't be more blessed and more happy that I have the opportunity to build a legacy and grow the kingdom and love people in my community and be a light. Has it been? It's been a hard one. This has been the hardest year of my life, and that is a understatement just to say it. But God has been good. And I think when you go through certain seasons, God may be quiet, but it don't mean he's silent. God may be quiet, but he's preparing something. And I think he'll use it to stretch your faith and stretch your heart. And it feels tough. It feels horrible. But I think in the end, just know that he has blessings. And I'm going to be honest, like this job is awesome, and clippers and new barber tools and all these accolades. Those are awesome. Those are sweet. Like I'm gonna be real. The barbershop is beautiful. I probably work at the best shop. Anybody who graduated, I think hands down, by far, I work at the best shop, and hands down, by far, I have the best tools, and hands down, with all these other things and clothes, and I get to wake up and go to work and wear nice barber clothes and all these different things that I have access to. And as awesome as the blessings of God are, it's nothing compared to just being a friend of God. And I say that as somebody who sinned wretchedly time and time again. Sinned wretchedly time and time again. If I could tell you, I would, bro. I'm embarrassed by some of the things I've walked into as a believer. But God is so merciful and so gracious and so faithful. So I want to tell you, keep your head up. Keep your head up, keep trusting, keep believing, do not give up. If he put a promise in your heart, keep going. And even that promise is just a piece of it. Scripture says that our current sufferings are momentary, like our current sufferings are just momentary and light and momentary compared to the glory that will be revealed in us, compared to everything we're walking through is for a glory, is for a reason. There's a reason behind it. There's a reason. And John Piper said, it's not worthless. It is working a weight of glory. It is working a weight of glory. So anyways, my friends, I just wanted to celebrate and congratulate and give you an update, and encourage you. Share what God has been done in me, God has done in my life. I just want to testify and give him the glory. This ain't the only time you're going to hear me share either, but I just wanted to give that victory. All right, you guys. Blessings.